All right, you guys asked too many damn questions, so I'm gonna try and go through these pretty quick. Can a Holley Sniper be worked to get better gas mileage? Yes and no. So if the engine is only capable of getting 18 miles per gallon or whatever it is, and you're getting 18 miles per gallon, then it's not gonna magically get any better than that. But if you're getting 4 miles per gallon, then you should be able to tune it and improve that quite a bit. So, and there's more to it than just like choosing a target air fuel ratio and like driving and cruising. Obviously, the more you're on the throttle, the more fuel you're gonna use. But what people don't take into consideration is like transient fueling, and more importantly, like cold start and just startup in general. Can you waste a ton of fuel? And most of like the base configuration files, wizard files or whatever on the Sniper are all excessively rich at startup. So the short answer is you can typically find some fuel economy with better tuning. This one isn't even a question, it's just amazing. Me personally, I'm not racing, just parking lot pimping. And like the Sniper, because it keeps the engine looking original. I don't know why, that was just awesome. Parking lot pimping, that's great. All right, both of these, I'm not reading all this, but you can. Both of these comments are in regards to me saying that me personally, if I was going to do fuel injection on a car, I would just put 8 injectors on it and run multi-part fuel injection as opposed to like a Sniper or something like that, personal preference. The long and the short of it is these guys are saying that it's gonna be more expensive and more of a pain in the ass to go that route. Absolutely, without question. It's not for everybody. Like I say, that's just my personal preference. The way most things in life work, if they're more of a pain in the ass and more expensive, that usually means they're better. So considering that, you know, this is what I do for a living, that would be the decision that I would make. Just like if I was building a house and somebody that builds houses for a living were building a house, we'd probably kind of end up with 2 different things. How to know what the setting is for wide open throttle on a Sniper 1? So you gotta be more specific than this. Are you talking, I'm assuming he's talking about probably fueling and timing, but without knowing the engine, the combination, the fuel, forced induction, like any of that stuff, it's kind of hard to give you an answer on that. So when you guys ask these questions, like don't write a 74-page novel, but you gotta be a little bit more specific than this so that I can help answer your question. But a lot of the tuning questions like this, like choosing your timing value, choosing your target air fuel value, it's gonna be different for every combination, and it's kind of like what dynos are for. So you can get some ballpark figures, but nobody can just tell you what the kind of the end answer is. You gotta play with it. One car might like one thing, and the next car with all the same parts might like something different. How do you set up a internal data log on HP or Dominator? It's actually pretty simple. You just go up to the top, go to data log, and this has something like set up ECU logging. Damn it, what does it say? Let me double check that. Yeah, just say set up ECU logging, and then you can deactivate it, make it run basically all of the time, or you can set it up to be triggered. Triggered is kind of cool because then you can, you know, choose whatever criteria it is that you want to make it run, and then you can also set up like let's call it a fake output to trigger the data log, which will give you a little bit more control as far as how you start and stop the logs. Again, kind of right back to the Sniper thing, and me personally, I would go 8 injectors in a different ECU. The internal data logging, as far as the HP and Dominator, and then the no internal data logging on the Terminator X is kind of a deal breaker for me too. So, you know, if I'm buying a Holley ECU, it's going to be a HP or a Dominator. Now that doesn't mean that that's always going to be the right choice for you, but the internal data logging is a big one to me. I have a hard time understanding why you have less than 100,000 subscribers. So what's actually kind of funny about this is I probably hear this, and I don't know why the number's always 100,000 too, but I hear this probably like 5 or 10 times a week.
You can show me love, or you can get lost.
But the actual growth of this channel is deadly consistent, painfully slow, and it's exactly the same number every single month without question. I can post 20 videos, 1 video, 50 videos, it doesn't matter. So I've almost kind of quit even caring or paying attention to it. It is what it is. I think the only way that number would actually ever really increase would be if Holley was to share the channel or something like that, but that hasn't happened when I've been making nothing but Holley videos for the last, 3 or 4 years. So if they haven't done it by now, they're probably just not going to. Oh, you son of a bitch. All right, I almost need a beer for this one. On a methanol car with Carter Motorsports smart coils, is it possible the coils are causing inconsistent plug readings and a bunch of other crap? So, damn it. So I just went through this. Good friend of mine, longtime customer, the whole deal. Car makes, I don't know, 1,400 horsepower. Ran an entire season with these coils, no problem. Did some changes over the winter, and this thing just eat a head gasket no matter what you did. Like literally 3 pounds of boost, and the thing's making 70 pounds of coolant pressure, and spraying coolant all over the place. So to make a long story short, he went through everything, changed this, that, the other, machine shop, new block, new all of it. And somebody very well respected in the industry mentioned having problems with those particular coils and suggested swapping those. Seemed like a real Hail Mary kind of a fix, but went from Carter Motorsports coils to Holley coils. And the thing, I think we stopped on the dyno at 1,200 horsepower again, but all the problems went away. So an endless amount of time and money were wasted on that. Still seems a little bit far-fetched to me, but that was the only change and all of the problems went away. So with that being said, I have no interest in touching anything that has Carter Motorsports coils on there. I don't even know what Carter Motorsports is, like no offense to them. I just assumed it was almost like the Mac valves. You know how 1,500 places put their sticker on a Mac valve, triple the price, and kind of sell it like that. I figured they maybe just bought a bunch of IGN 1A coils in bulk and were selling them a little bit cheaper, but digging into it a little bit further, like I don't know if there's some like Chinese knockoff coils or what they are, but the plugs on that particular car, if you pulled all 8 out, showed absolutely no sign of anything tune related causing the problems. And again, we swapped coils and all the problems went away. If it's coincidence, I don't know, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those coils anymore. Terminator X, my AFR pegs at 35 until he accelerates or unlocks the converter. So 99 out of 100 times when they peg at 35, it's usually a bad O2 sensor. I can't say that I've ever seen one that kind of comes back to life by unlocking the converter or accelerating, but my first guess. So if you're using like a Sniper or a Terminator X, any of the ones using the Bosch O2 sensor, I tell everyone keep a spare O2 in your glove box just because you never know. So the easiest thing to do is just swap it and see if your problems go away, but that's where I would start. It's far more common for the O2 to be bad than it is for kind of some weird oddball problem to be kind of going on. I was wondering what the global timing box is for. That's a new update in Terminator X, and it is just like a max limit. I wish they had a TPS kind of offset for this, but basically the objective of this is if you have a value of 40, then regardless of what all of your ignition modifiers are, it's never gonna go above 40. I think there's a negative on there too, I'd have to look at it, but without there being either like a boost limit or a TPS limit or something like that, could be a little bit helpful like part throttle, but if you set that at a value that makes sense for full throttle, then it's not gonna make sense part throttle and vice versa. So yeah, that's just like a kind of a limit to where it won't go, above that value or whatever, but we need a little bit more adjustability there. I like the thought of it though. Can you talk about target air fuel for idle, direct injection? So I'm not the guy to talk to about direct injection stuff, but as far as your target air fuel for idle, it's really trial and error and depends on the combo, the setup, the cam a lot, and probably most importantly, the exhaust. If your O2 sensor is near the end of the exhaust, what the air fuel value is reading is 9 times out of 10 irrelevant. So what I do on basically all of them is I just move it around until the engine's running the happiest. It's not uncommon for an engine to want to run richer at idle than it would like cruising, and then sometimes you can run them really lean at idle, but they all change. But the big thing that you got to keep an eye on is the minimum injector pulse width, and make sure you're not riding that. A lot of times, if you're moving your target air fuel ratio around, I usually turn closed loop off, and then you can just like plus or minus the fuel table and see what the air fuel is when it's running the best. But I guess the short answer is I try and run them as lean as you can to where they're still happy, but I'd rather run an engine at an air fuel ratio where it says it's at 11.5 to 1 as opposed to 14 to 1. If at 14 to 1 it's stumbling and stalling out, and 11.5 it runs like $1 million. It's kind of like an extreme example, but hopefully you can kind of read between the lines there and catch what I'm trying to say. Big block, he's got to give it throttle before it starts. So that's just the IAC park position. Ironically, right before filming this video, I filmed another video where I'm gonna show that specifically. So yeah, you need to play with the IAC park position. Well, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because if you're fueling, if your timing and your cranking fuel, like if all of that other stuff isn't right, then it might take way more IAC park position to get it correct. So it's a combination of all of it, but the IAC park position is the equivalent of using the idle control valve in a way that kind of represents opening the throttle more. I do like how the Sniper cools down the intake charge like a carb would. Maybe, maybe not. I feel like any benefit that you would have by the injector placement on the Sniper, you probably would lose out on unequal fuel distribution cylinder to cylinder. Is the target air fuel table a multiplier, or is the VE target, or is the VE table a direct correlation to the target AFR? So if you're using volumetric efficiency for your load type, then the target air fuel ratio is part of the mathematical equation. So if you change the target air fuel ratio, it's gonna change all of the math and you don't have to do anything. So you can go from a target air fuel of 12.5 and just change it from 12.5 to 12.0, and now it's going to run at 12.0, assuming all of your injector information and whatnot is correct. If you are using speed density in pounds per hour, then you will have to do the math to make up for that change. Now, when you change the target air fuel ratio in that mode, it's going to ask you if it wants you to change the values for you. Sometimes it works pretty good, sometimes it doesn't. But that's one big reason why I like using volumetric efficiency so much. Oh, how'd that get there? All right, that's it for this one. Same as all the other ones. You guys keep asking questions, I'll keep making videos like this. And so you guys will shut up. Finally, I have somebody working on some t-shirts. So if that goes like anything else that I have going on, that'll take 6 months to happen, but maybe we'll have some of this soon. But all right, leave your questions below.